PR Connections Radio presents. This show is brought to you by Paid Per Letter. Write letters and make a difference. paidperletter.com/Uncle Dan.
Hi, my name is Penny Tindall, and I am the new host for the podcast called The Professionals. We will be broadcasting this podcast live every first and third Wednesday of the month at 10:15 a.m. Tune in and learn about local businesses and their innovative minds behind them. Each episode, we will journey through the unique stories of our neighborhood entrepreneurs and nonprofits and uncover the passion, the challenges, and the triumphs that drive our local economy. Join us as we explore how dedicated individuals are crafting not only vibrant enterprises, but also are more connected to our local Las Vegas and Henderson community. Stay tuned. I'll see you soon. Penny Tindall. Hello, and welcome to another podcast of The Professionals, which we meet every first and third Wednesday of the month at 10:15. I give you that extra 15 minutes to jump on board. Today's guest, we have Brandilyn Hallcroft. She is with, she has many hats that we were talking about, but Metro Designs and Events. And I have been working with Brandilyn through my publication for the last couple of years. And she does graphic design. She's a guru. She does digital marketing. She can help all your small businesses and nonprofits. She also does copywriting. That's something new. We're going to talk about her services and then something that's near and dear to her heart, which is she's an author of a journal, journaling. What do we call it?
Journal series. A journal series.
A journal series. Yes, and I need that just so I can have some good memory. So go ahead and let you introduce yourself and kind of tell the folks out there kind of what's your specialty and what kind of businesses that you feel that you can help and service.
Well, so I've been in marketing for, I think 26 years now. I'm aging myself. And I started doing graphic design in the year 2000. So I've been doing that for 24 years. I've recently become an author of my journals. And really, I've worked with every type of business under the sun. I mean, there's really been no limit. It's just a matter of whatever opportunities come my way, I've managed to find a way to work with them. So there's really no limitations when it comes to the type of businesses. I do the research and figure out what needs to be done. And I'm always learning more because I get surprised every once in a while with something that I've never done before, but I'm kind of that I'll figure it out, it's fine kind of person. So
well, I know that because I was having technical difficulties and you're like, Penny, I'm going to teach you 101 on how to work your computer. So I love that you had like, hey, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to help you. I know that with my publication, we've had brainstorming conversations on how we can get clients, what articles we want. You are my content coordinator. So pretty much you write most of my articles in the publication, and some items that you are very passionate about, which are your fur babies and talking about pets, right?
Yes. Yeah. My coworkers.
Your coworkers.
Yes.
And that is so true because with such a stressful life that we have, I think more people are realizing what anxiety is and having to take that mental break, which could be just, taking your dog for a walk, or getting a snuggle, right?
Yeah. Or, so much of it is about mindset. And I think that, I can attest to the fact that I was a lot more anxious, even 5 years ago than I am today. And so I found ways to eliminate that anxiety, change the way that I think about things, try not to let stuff get to me, come back to reality, do some, my breathing techniques and calm myself. I'm a big mantra person, so I write things down and then put it in my head. One of the things last night, I had a really incredible situation happen last night, and as I was driving home from it, I was just, on cloud nine, and all I could say to myself was trust and believe, trust and believe, trust and believe. And it's really true. You just trust in what yourself and what you're doing, trust in the universe, God, whatever it is that you believe in, and believe that everything is going to happen the way that it's supposed to. There's no reason to really create anxiety. Anxiety really stems from thinking too much about the past or thinking too far into the future. And so when you are able to find a way to calm yourself with mantras and breathing techniques, stuff like that, you can really bring yourself back to the present moment. And as much as you stick to the present moment, the more you stick to the present moment, the less you feel anxiety. And I carry a lot. I have 3 websites. I have an Etsy shop. I have a Zazzle shop. I have books or journals on Amazon that I sell. I write for you, Penny.
Yes.
A part-time job with a wealth financial firm, and I'm a marketer for a marketing company that has 7 different businesses, but I still manage to do it. And I'm now at a point where my anxieties are very few and far between. I think that at this point, what I struggle with the most is the anxiety of driving on the road, especially here in
Well,
Vegas.
I totally understand that. And there is so much more construction. I forget that in the summertime, there is more construction, which I find that odd because guess what? The students and the parents are running around. I don't think as many people go on these long summer breaks anymore. Maybe that was before, but I feel like more people are staying closer to home. And I feel like this summer we have more traffic and
Yeah,
more aggravation because it is so hot. So by the time you get in the car and the AC's on, then you're already there. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So,
yeah,
but anyway, so I love that. So yes, I was very fortunate for you to come aboard and help me, kind of build my community and create something that I love. You definitely are a partner with my Best Version Media publication. So I appreciate you for sure. And I know that you are a quick learner and you think outside of the box. And for me, I'm not organized. So for having you, it's a perfect fit, right? I
yeah.
mean,
It really
opposites
is
do
actually.
attract.
I laugh about it often when I'm talking to you and I'm like, okay, hold that thought. We have to stay where we're at. We've got to finish this and then we'll go to that.
Yeah, it definitely keeps the conversation going. And a 15 minutes is, you're going to probably have to allot for me 30 minutes minimum
Yeah.
because
Well,
we
I
go
mean,
off
you know what?
tangent.
It's a balance. It's a balance. And I think if we were both the same, it wouldn't work as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, because but I would love to have a little bit more organization in my life. That's for sure. So I know that when we sat down, we were meeting some clients, and you had told me about your passion project, and now you are actually, did steadfast, and now you have published a series of journals. So that's why we really want to go on and talk about, like what was that passion project? How did that come about?
Yeah, and actually what happened last night, the event that happened is a part of it.
Oh,
So, 2020, it was a tough time. I was alone. I didn't have anyone here. I didn't know very many people here in Vegas, and I spent that time by myself. It was scary. We all had our own different ways of dealing with it. And there was a point where I just dove straight into my own personal healing. It was just after my grandmother had passed away in June of that year. My grandmother was somebody that I was very close to, and her loss was hard for me. There was something missing after that, and I was just using different YouTube channels, books, and I really got into journaling and writing things down. And the funny thing about that was, like, I actually wrote one of my favorite YouTubers and said, you should start workbooks on this process to be able, to provide to people. And she wrote me back saying that, oh, that's a good idea. And she actually came out with some PDFs that she was attaching to her YouTube channel, and they were helpful, but it wasn't really what I had in mind, what I was thinking.
Your
And
vision.
then it dawned on me, like, why don't I do this? I'm thinking of this idea. Why don't I do something? And so I created my journals, and well, I started working on it. I was doing research. I was taking notes, and the first person I told about it was my father. And when he unfortunately passed away due to taking his own life in 2022, January of 2022. And it was really hard for me. And I kind of pushed the journals to the back burner, and I was just sort of angry. And I said, if he's not going to see it, why should I continue doing it? And then as I progressed through the grieving process, it was almost like I was hearing him from the other side saying, you need to do your journals. And so I jumped back in and started to really put them together, taking my notes. And it turned out that finishing and working on my journals had actually helped me with the grieving process of my father. So then after the first run, I kind of set him to the side and stepped away from it and went back about 6 months later to edit. And in January of this year, I created a vision board and I put my journals on there. And then, I don't know, something from the universe was just hammering at me. Every night I would come home from work, get your journals done, get your journals done, get your journals done.
Yes.
So I went through, finished the editing process, and launched them in March. And so, I'll tell you a quick version of the story. So on the first launching, I had my proofs, and I gave them to everybody that I was at work with. One of the women, she has a daughter. One of my coworkers has a daughter who struggles with mental health. And she was actually in the psych ward, and she took the journal that I gave to her and gave it to her daughter. And this was an introduction to me and her daughter. And since then, I've been working with her, trying to get her the help that she needs. Monday, she finally went to Seven Hills, which was where I was, researched and wanted her to go.
Right.
And I went to visit her last night. I might get a little bit emotional because this was so cool. And when she walked in the door, she was bright. She was like a different person. And we both had a moment, and we cried because I was like, who are you? I don't even know who you are right now. It was the most incredible turnaround. And it was all a matter of, it was her doing the work with my guidance, and it's sparked by her getting that journal. And so I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted them to do. And so the journals are actually healing journals. I have 9 different ones, depending upon what you're going through in life at the time. There's shadow work, self-esteem, healing in general, grief, forgiveness, and so on. And really, of course, some money to be able to market it so it gets out there is an objective. However, what I experienced last night was exactly the reason why I wanted to do it in the first place, because I want to help people and I want them to have the have the ability, self-worth, self-esteem, and, not live on their triggers, not live as a victim, and grow and learn, because every single person that actually heals from the wounds that they have becomes a better person for society, and they bring what they're meant to bring to the world.
I love that you said don't be a victim. And sometimes I have people say, they act like the victim, but they don't do anything about it. So you're saying that if you put stuff in words, put stuff down, you can navigate. And then your journals are they more like kind of workbooks, like you're giving us like think about this, like are there different things on there, or are they blank pages?
Yeah, they're actually prompt journals. So the first 22 pages of each one, with the exception of a dream journal, because you can't really have prompts for dreams, those are sporadic.
I can
um,
dream about a lot of stuff, but
yeah, I
it's
mean,
in the
how am I going to
journal.
ask a specific question about a dream that is going to relate to everyone?
Right.
Um, but they're prompt journals, so they're all based on the questions that are in it are based on that subject matter. And it actually asks the question, and then there's a secondary question. And on some of them, there's like an area to draw or sketch out
Oh.
how you feel about it. But then some of them say, write a mantra and, that relates to this situation, because those mantras are the things that you have in your head that help you get through those times and the things that you struggle with. Because really, it's about reconditioning, like reprogramming your brain. It's, we all have this time in our youth where we are programmed a certain way, and we can change the way that we live and live more happy, fulfilled lives if we work through that programming and actually distinguish, like, this works, this doesn't. Just it's really like going through your closet and getting rid of the clothes you don't wear anymore.
The clothes that I know I haven't wore, and I'm looking to lose that 30 pounds for the last 13 years. I understand that. But I love that. So I was lucky enough that you had just gotten a couple of the prototypes when we were having our lunch and our margarita. And and I just was so impressed with the beauty of the covers. And my understanding is you actually designed all your covers too, right? Being a graphic artist.
Yeah, everything is mine. All of the text, all the questions, everything that's written in there is written by me. The graphics are created by me. It was all my vision.
Right.
I did get opinions from people, but I took what I thought was valuable and still, kept back what I didn't.
So I'm sure you have do you have the journals with you that you can like maybe read a prompt or two
Yeah.
from a journal, that just so people can kind of get an idea of the concept, because these are available right now, right? I could go on Amazon or your Etsy store
Yeah.
and get these right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you go to journalstohealing.com, my website, then that'll lead you to the Amazon pages. I also have a blog on there that I am
Oh,
working on that has a lot of things. Like, I use my own experiences to help explain certain concepts, like dealing with triggers or forgiveness for grief, etc. So, and I'm building on that regularly. So it's just another really free resource for people to use to help with their own healing so that they can grow and be the best person that they're meant to be.
yes,
Um,
and so these journals can be for all ages, because I know of a
yeah,
few young people, like I said, contemplating suicide, and to me they seem, like I wouldn't know.
simple.
I never saw their trigger, but I think that this is important because for those folks, they know what they're going through. So I think that that's important. I think the prompts. So go ahead and read a prompt
Yeah,
so I can get a
yeah.
feel for what it's
Well,
about.
and I was very intentional in the way that I designed the whole things, because I really, my thought in mind was, I want this to be teen and upward. So it wasn't too complicated. There are some really amazing journals out there, but some of them might be overwhelming if you're going through too much and you're like, oh, I'm just filling this stuff out. Where
Right.
these are really meant to be as you're wanting to. There's no like you have to go through a whole process. It's just when you need it. So I have my forgiveness journal in my hand, and I'll read one of those. So in the beginning, I have the actual definition of of the concept, because I think that we've gotten to a point where we're redefining things so much anymore that people are actually not really understanding what things mean. So
So
that
let's
was
define forgiveness. Let's
so
define forgiveness so we're all on the same page.
this is the actual dictionary definition and in every one of the journals. And so forgiveness, it's a noun, the action or process of forgiving or being forgiven. And then I go through an intro that talks about forgiveness. There's a couple pages on an intro. Then there's a page that tells you, how to use the journal, find a cozy spot, set an intention, get creative, and check in with yourself. So there's little blurbs on that. And then there's a section that, for each one, it kind of varies. This one has why forgive, and there are different reasons why forgiveness is important. Then it goes to the journal prompts. And in the journal prompts, I have at the top current mood, and you can select your mood. You put your date in, the date that you're writing. And the question here says, what are some things that people do that you struggle to forgive? And so you write down what you struggle to forgive. And then it goes on to say, how can you practice self-compassion in this situation, referring to the question that you just answered. So that way you're kind of breaking down what is happening there. So you have some reflection, you have some awareness. And from there, you can actually see things in a different light and know how to work with it so that it's healthy for you. And on this one, I have underneath the question, it says draw, sketch, or scribble something that symbolizes how you feel about this. So this is one of the ones that has like a little drawing section. Not all of them have that. Like I said, some of them have write an affirmation. And I was intentional with that as well, because in some areas you want to just sketch something out or doodle, or when you're thinking about it, you just want to doodle things. Where with other stuff, like my anxiety journal will have what is an affirmation or mantra that you can use for this instead of drawing or sketching something out. Because
Okay, I like the sketching idea because I do a lot of scribbling. So if you see me when I'm doing my cold calls, there's some angry scribbles. Get it off on the paper, right? Try to get released. So, okay, so that's fantastic. So that one is for, what triggers, and a lot of times you don't realize what triggers you. Like
yeah.
when you just said that, I'm thinking in my mind, and I definitely would want to sit there because I probably could fill up a couple pages.
Well,
without realizing it.
Yeah, I mean, triggers become one of those buzzwords that everyone's using. And I personally feel like it's an excuse to not actually face a situation that you should be facing.
Right.
I think that it is important to be sensitive to people's triggers. However, you're not responsible for them, and nobody is responsible for yours. A better way of dealing with it is actually, I went through a trigger process myself where I would write down my triggers, and you can't, when you're sitting here trying to write it down, you can't always think of everything that triggers you. But I have my notes in my phone, which I utilize all the time. And I would say, when I noticed myself getting triggered, I would write down what just triggered me in my notes. So then I would take that home and analyze every one of my triggers, break it down. Why is this triggering me? Where did this trigger come from? Is this something that I was taught from somebody in my youth? Is this because I experienced something that had traumatized me? And then from there, once I figured out where it stemmed from, I went through the process of releasing it. Because when you're holding on to triggers and you're blaming other people for it, you tend to give your power away to someone else. And I'm all about my power belongs to me, and nobody else is going to take that from me. So I'm, working on becoming bulletproof, and it's something that takes a long time to do, but I would say like the first 2 years of the process is a lot more difficult, but you start getting into that rhythm of living your life in a different way. And you find that you're much happier because of it. And now it's like somebody says a trigger word to me and I'll find a way to make a joke out of it. I mean, you're not going to upset me because this is about you. This isn't about me. I'm not taking anything that people say about me or to me personally. I mean, which isn't to say that I don't stand up for myself, because Lord knows I do. And anybody that knows me is like, oh, Brandy. but and I stand up for myself, but I'm also not just flying off the handle and freaking out over every little thing and just being so concerned with that, because my life is mine and everyone else has their own things that are triggering to them or that they've gone through. Everyone has a different life, and we can't be a society to where we're just walking on eggshells, afraid to say anything, afraid to make any jokes, afraid to do anything because, oh, this might be triggering for someone. If you deal with your triggers, it's not going to be triggering for you.
Yes, I totally understand that. I know a lot of people that, fly off the handle. I had a question though. I'm a note taker. I take a lot of notes. I'm not a very organized person, but I do get things done because I'm task oriented. But when did you start using journalism to help yourself?
Well, that's funny. I've actually, after I did all of this, it's so funny how you don't really know where your path is leading until you've been led to your path. After I did all of this, I look back in my life and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've always been doing this. It was kind of the same thing as when I got into graphic design. I look back, it was like it started from scrapbooking when I was 5 years old, when my grandma gave me my first scrapbook. I mean, it was a form of graphic arts. And with journaling, it's funny. There was in 2001, the year of 9/11. I went to Paris with the company I was working for, which was a dream come true for me. It was somewhere I always wanted to go. I love Paris. My apartment is actually designed with all kinds of Paris stuff because I want to be reminded of the best 5 days of my life.
Okay.
And I also went to a Poison concert, which was my favorite band when I was a kid, and they broke up, and unbeknownst to me, they got back together, and my boyfriend at the time got me tickets to this. So I went to both of them. I was 22 years old, and they were kind of back to back. I went to the Poison concert in August, and then I went to Paris in November, and it was all just, these were given to me. Like, it wasn't even something that I paid for, that I sought out or planned. It was
Right.
more sporadic. And that same year at Christmas in December, my mom wrapped up 2 of my journals from when I was a kid in a present and gave them to me. And interestingly enough, one of the journals was a prompt journal. And in that prompt journal, there were 2 different questions. One of them was, if you were anywhere in the world right now, where would you be? And I wrote, I would be 22 years old, and I would be in Paris. And then another question was, if you could do anything right now, what would it be? And I said, I would be 22 years old and be at a Poison concert. And so why 22 years old was important to me at the age of 11, which was when I wrote that journal, and I wrote my age in it because it was a prompt journal. I have no idea, but both of them happened when I was 22 years old. So there's real power in writing things down. And if you truly want something in life, because so often we'll see something like, oh, those are some cute shoes, I want those. And, oh, I'm not going to spend the money. And we'll pass it by. But when you truly, truly want something in life, it comes to you. And it took 11 years for me to get both of those wishes, but it happened, and it happened at the exact time that I said it was going to happen.
That is exciting. And you know what? You also mentioned that you do a vision board. And I know that my oldest daughter does a vision board. And I have attempted to do a vision board. And I'm definitely going to get some notes from you, because I'm putting stuff on my vision board. I'm not waiting 11 years, but I'm going to put some time frames on those.
No,
I
you
also,
can't do that. That's
oh,
the part. You can't. You have to just put it out there and know that
okay.
it's going to come to you, and be patient for it to come to you, because you put those time frames on it and then it doesn't happen in that expected time frame.
Uh,
Then you're going to be disappointed. I mean, I happen to put the age of 22 because I don't know. I guess when I was 11, I thought that was like the coolest age.
It is one
I
of the
mean,
best ages. I go back to 22 any day.
yeah, I mean, I think that's when I looked the best. I had the most energy.
Yeah, I can look back. 22 and 24 are very good years, definitely.
Right.
And not that there's not bad years now, but you just are excited about life and opportunities, have an open mind. And basically that's what you're saying, have an open mind. And writing in these journals, I like the idea that the prompt says, how are you feeling? Because how I feel today, that I'm happy versus I'm in a down moment, I could be thinking totally two different mindsets, right?
Right.
If
Yeah.
something dramatic happens, it's not going to be the same as if I just had a piece of chocolate cake and, just came back from Paris or something.
Yeah.
So I love that, because then, like you said, you opened up the journal and you remembered, and it's not only healing, but it's pretty cool. I mean, that
Yeah.
is like a super cool. I'm going to definitely start journaling. I'm going to look to purchase a few of your journals. Are they coming individually, or can you buy them as like a series? Is it a series,
I
or can you buy
wish.
them together?
I wish, but the thing is that Amazon's got their rules, and unfortunately, every system, somebody finds a way to take advantage of it. So my journals are actually considered what they call low content books. So they don't allow me to sell them in a series.
Oh.
um, Although you can, get them. I mean, I'm still going to give you one. I just keep forgetting to give it to you when I
Well,
see you.
I got to decide which journal I want, but I definitely want to purchase them because I have a young daughter going to college, Syracuse, New York. And then I have my other daughter flying all across, the United States as a Spirit airline stewardess. And she's going to fantastic places. And she does know how to go do things by herself.
Yeah.
And I feel like I wish I had that power. I had that power, but as an adult, I love people. I love being out in the public, but I don't spend a lot of alone time. Like you're saying, sit in the corner, be
Yeah.
intentional. That's going to be something that it's going to be a little bit more difficult, definitely on the slow learning curve, but I'm definitely going to do that. Brandilyn, it was so nice talking to you. I know we talk on a daily basis, but I feel like you are super inspirational to learn about your grandmother and how she got you into scrapbooking and how this has evolved. You gave your personal story about your father. Not everybody does that. So people know that you think out of the box. You're definitely a caring and loving person, and definitely very organized. So, why don't you tell the folks out there how they can connect with you for either your graphic design, writing content? Basically, you have a woman of many hats.
Yeah.
And then also let us know how we can jump in and buy, a journal.
Yeah, so with graphic design marketing, you can reach me at metro-designs.com. I mean, essentially all my websites are going to lead to me. But then for digital party supplies, it's Metro Event, not plural, event.com. And then my journals is journalstohealing.com. All of the journals are actually listed there, and the links in that page will lead you to get them on Amazon if you want. But also remember to follow my blog there. That's actually my most important blog that I have. And I want to help people. I want people to live a happy, healthy life and not be worried about everything around.
I didn't catch the blog. What's the blog information?
The blog is actually on journalstohealing.com.
Okay.
And that's where I write about, mental health things and stuff like that.
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to check all that out. I want to wish everybody a happy Juneteenth. The banks are closed. Be mindful. Realize what an important day this is. It's incredible, and we should take advantage of doing a little history. You can read my publication. I have an article from Brandilyn that wrote about Juneteenth in our June edition. Also, I will be taking a little off break because we do meet on the first and third Wednesday of the month. And so next Wednesday, the first would be July 3rd. So we're going to run a rerun, possibly this one, just because I feel like it was very inspirational listening to your story. And so you will see me again on the third Wednesday of the month of July. Have a happy and blessed day. And thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in a few weeks at 10:15 Wednesday. Thanks again, Brandilyn. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.